Hello 8th grade. This is part 4 video of Mod 6 MGSA. We are wrapping up Mod 6. Okay, so we are doing questions 37 through 48. Okay, 37. A car traveled 65 miles in 30 minutes. The car traveled at a constant speed. If the car continues to travel at this rate, which equation can be used to determine y, the total number of miles the car will travel in X hours? Okay, so constant speed, I know that I'm going to have my rate of change, okay, is constant. Rate of change is constant. And they told us the rate. They said 65 miles in 30 minutes. 65 miles in 30 minutes. So that is going to help me. Because I know that my rate of change is also the unit rate. Okay? The unit rate. So what do I need there? Well, I don't need minutes, I need an hour. A unit rate is per 1 hour, okay? So what do I have to do? Well, if I do 30 minutes times 2, that gives me 60 minutes. So that's an hour, right? 1 hour equals 60 minutes. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to put that on there, 1 hour. Unit rate, 1 hour. All right, so what did I do to 30 minutes to get that 1 hour? I multiplied by 2. So then multiply the 65 by 2, and we get 130. So my m is 130, so I get y equals 130 times x. And this is my equation. Which equation? Well, looking at this, we got 108 plus y equals x. That's not it. Y equals x plus 130. Nope, the 130 was not our initial value, it was our rate of change. C, 130 times y equals x. No, y is our total number of miles. We're not multiplying that by 130. We need to do that to the time x. Okay, so A, B, and C have been eliminated. D is what we came up with. D as in dog is our answer. Okay, using what we did in number 37, you are going to answer questions 38 and 39. They are the same thing, same type of question, different numbers. Okay, we are on to the constructed response questions, the short answer questions. Okay, these questions are worth more points because there is work to be shown. Okay, number 40. The values given in the table lie on the graph of a linear function. What equation represents this linear function? So what equation represents this linear function? Immediately, y equals mx plus b is what I'm going to look for, okay? So I have plenty of x's and y's. Those are my ordered pairs, okay? Which means I need to find M, then find B. Okay, so finding M, that's our rate of change. M is our rate of change, and that is delta y divided by delta x. So right now I have to find my delta y and my delta x. Remember, delta means change in, okay? So change in y divided by change in x. So what took place from 1.9 to 2.4. What happened? What did we do there? Well, it definitely increased. By how much did it increase? Well, it went up by 0.5. Now, how did I get that? Well, what I did was I worked backwards, okay? I did the 2.4 minus the 1.9, 2.4 minus 1.9, and that gave me the 0.5. So it went up by 0.5. What happened between 2.4 and 2.9? So I start at 2.9 and I subtract off the 2.4, and that gives me an increase of 1/2 as well. Okay, so what happened with our x's, our change in x, delta x? Well, it went from 0.25 to 0.5, so that means it increased by 0.25, and from 0.5 to 0.75 is another increase of 0.25. Again, you can find this by taking the second one and subtracting the first one, and we get the 0.25, and then the third one minus the second one, and we get the increase of 0.25 again. All right, so we need to find our M, our rate of change. M is equal to delta y divided by delta x. So my first one was 0.5 divided by 0.25. And you can see that I'm going to get the same ratio again, 0.5 divided by 0.25. And that means I only have to do this once. So 0.5 divided by 0.25 is 2. So I know that M equals 2. All right, so I'm halfway there. I've got my M. I found my M. Now I'm going to have to find B. All right, so y equals 2x plus b. Again, I have several ordered pairs to choose from. Okay, does not matter which one I choose. I am going to go with the first one, but you're going to get the same answer whichever ordered pair you go with. Okay, so when x is 0.25, y is 1.9. So y is 1.9. Our slope is 2. Our rate of change is 2. And x is 0.25. And now I'm going to solve this for b. I'm going to solve this for b. So I start with my multiplication. 2 times 0.25 gives me 0.5 plus the b. I subtract 0.5 from both sides. I want to isolate the variable. So 1.9 minus 0.5 gives me 1.4, and that's what b is. All right, so I found both of them. I know my m, and I know my b. So now I'm ready to write this equation, okay? So I get y equals 2x plus 1.4. M is the 2, b is 1.4, so y equals 2x plus 1.4 is my equation to represent this linear function. Okay, using what we did in number 40, you are going to answer questions 41 and 42. Okay, please go to question number 43. You're going to need some highlighters for this one. Highlighters always help us out, figure out some questions. Okay, it says a reporter collected data on Y, the current market value in dollars, of a certain car for various years X, after it had been purchased new. The equation below was fit to the data. Y equals 22,980 minus 2,100X. What does the slope of the graph of this equation represent? Okay, so immediately I notice that this is written backwards, okay? We have our rate of change multiplied by the independent variable here, and we have our initial value b here, okay? So I'm going to just make sure you understand this is y equals b plus mx, okay? They're switched around. And in this case, m, okay, m is negative 2,100. That is our rate of change, okay? So our m, and what that represents is depreciation. So the car, excuse me, the car depreciates. Once you purchase the car, every day that it's used, the value of the car decreases. So that's why that's negative. Okay, so slope, rate of change is negative 2,100. That's what we have there. Okay, so what are we going to say here? The slope, or rate of change, is negative 2,100. And what does that represent? Well, with a car, again, it's the depreciation. This is how much the fair market value, decreases every year. So if I buy the car, I use it for a year, it's going to be $2,100 less in value than it was when I purchased it. Okay, next part. We have What does the y-intercept of the graph of this equation represent? Well, we know the y-intercept is our b, our plus b, okay, but in this case it started with that. So y-intercept is our initial value. How much did the car start out with? How much did we pay for it? Okay, so we have the y-intercept is 22,980. And this represents, in this situation, this is the fair market value at the time of purchase. At the time of purchase. And I forgot the word of purchase. Okay, that's all you had to do. All the information was right in the equation, just pulling it out and describing what it is for this situation. Okay, so you are going to use what we did in 43 to answer questions 44 and 45. And again, those are the exact same questions with different numbers. So follow 43 to help you with 44 and 45. All right, we are on to question 46. Question 46. Tim is selling tickets to a school sporting event to raise money for his club. He put some extra money in his box before he began. As he sells tickets, he records the number of tickets he has sold and the total amount of money in the box. Some of his data are shown below. Assuming all the tickets are the same price, write an equation that represents the situation in the table. Explain how to use your equation to determine the amount of money originally put in the box before any tickets were sold and the price of each ticket. Okay, so this is pretty much what we did in question 40, but we got to go a little bit further and explain something, okay? So let's highlight that important information. Write an equation to represent the situation in the table, okay? So that is our y equals mx plus b. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Money originally put in the box, okay? That is our b initial value. And that's what we have to do. Explain how to use your equation to determine the initial value, okay? All right, so here we go. What do we have to find? We have to find M and B, don't we? M and B. We've got several ordered pairs here. Those are our X's and Y's. So we're going to find M and B. That's the first step. So find, let's go down here, y equals mx plus b. Find M, then find B. Then find B. All right, here we go. So what is M? Well, M is our rate of change, okay? And that's equal to delta y divided by delta x, all right? So I need to find my delta y and my delta x. So I go to my table. And again, this is just like what we did in number 40, okay? So I said take the second one, subtract the first one, and that's how you get that, how much that increased by or decreased by. In this situation, it increased. Okay, it went up by 46.5. So $46.50 because this is money. Go to the third one, 158.50, and subtract the second one, 135.25, and that one increased by $23.25. Okay, let's go to delta x. I went from 5 to 11. Well, 11 minus 5, we went up by 6. And then I went from 11 to 14. 14 minus 11, I went up by 3. Okay, so now I want to do my m. My m is delta y divided by delta x. Okay, and I have 46.50 divided by 6. 46.50 divided by 6. Where did I get that from? Delta y divided by delta x. That's my first one. Okay. Now, this is a constant rate of change. This should also be equal to that. So we're going to put that on next. 23.25 divided by 3. Okay. Delta y divided by delta x. Now, I should get the same amount here. Okay, so $46.50 divided by 6 gives me 7.75. 23.25 divided by 3 is 7.75. So M equals 7.75. Okay, so we are halfway there. We've got y equals 7.75x plus b. All right, so now how do I find b? Well, I can use any ordered pair here, substitute it in for my x and y, and that will help me find b. All right, so again, you can use any one of these. I'm just going with the first one, okay? So finding b, okay, I'm going to just label this. Find m is over here. Now find b. All right, so I've got my y equals 7.75x plus b. So y is 88.75. When x is 5, the total money in the box is $88.75. So m is 7.75. My x is 5. And I've got the plus b on the end. All right, so here we go. We're going to solve for b. So 7.75 times 5 gives me 38.75 plus b. I'm going to get b all by itself. Can't talk. So I'm going to subtract off the 38.75 from both sides. Okay, so 88.75 minus 38.75 gives me 50. Okay, so our initial value is $50. So Tim put $50 in his box before he started, which kind of makes sense. He probably needed to make sure he had change in there in case someone was paying with a larger amount and needed to give them change. All right, so we found our m, we found our b, and now we have our equation. Let's bring these together. Here's our m, here's our b. So we end up with y equals 7.75x. That's our m. And then plus 50 is our b. Okay, so there's our equation. All right, so our answer, y equals 7.75x plus 50. Okay, and the original amount of money, I'm just using the words that they used, okay, the original amount of money is the y-intercept b. Once I determined the slope m equals delta y divided by delta x, and that was 7.75, I used an ordered pair from the table and we used, in this case, 588.75 to determine B equals $50. Okay, that's it. y equals 7.75x plus 50. The original amount of money is the y-intercept b. Once I determine the slope, m equals delta y divided by delta x equals 7.75. I used an ordered pair from the table, 588.75, to determine b equals $50. Okay, so there was a lot of steps to this question. Just take your time, go slow, okay? First find m, then find your b using the table of information. All right, so you are using what you learned in 46 to answer question 47 and question 48. And then please submit those answers to me. You can text me the pictures or your answers on a separate sheet of paper. My number is 650-0387, or you can email me this information. All right, thank you so much for your time. Take care and stay safe.